Welcome back to Pro Cycling Manager 2024 for the second episode of our career mode with REMBE Pro Cycling Team Sauerland. I want to thank you for the support on the last episode and also REMBE Pro Cycling for sponsoring this series. If you see them in a local race near you, go out there, go support them, they deserve it. Anyway, let's get started. Last episode we started off with our season preparation and did our first stage race, and it was actually quite successful. A top 10 in GC and a stage win on the second stage with Jonathan Rotman. Today we'll take the racing one step further because we've got quite a bit of racing on the schedule. First of all, Trofej Umag and Trofej Porec in Croatia, after which we do some stage races like the Tour of Taiwan and the Olympia Tour, of which there's quite a bit of sprint stages but also some punchy races in there. And most importantly for our sponsor REMBE, we gotta get a top 10 in the Olympia Tour GC, and it starts with a prologue with 4 sprint stages afterwards, so not ideal to really get separation, so it's all going to be about these intermediate sprints. There's 6 seconds to get at each intermediate sprint, so we might be able to worm ourselves into the top 10 of GC through breakaways. But before we get to the first race, I gotta adapt some training styles because some riders have figured out what they want when it comes to their training style. So Paul Wright needs Rutenberg as trainer, groundbreaking. Same thing for Julian Bores and Henry Appelbaum. There we go. And the rest is already correct, so that's perfect. But anyway, let's first focus on the races at hand. We've got the Trofej Umag in Croatia as our first race of today's video, and we've got a solid squad here. Jacob Scott as one of our 2 potential leaders, 69 sprints, so that's where it's at. Bit of a downhill slope towards the finish though. When it comes to Dominic Weiss, also 69 sprints, so I'll take a look at that race day condition to decide who's our leader. But if I take a look at the favorites list, we've got a chance with Jacob Scott apparently. Timothy Dupont is the favorite, Koen Vermeldvoort and so forth, so relatively high-end competition compared to our team at least. I'm trying to keep my riders on the second or third row to keep them in the draft of others and make sure they don't lose energy. Jacob Scott with a +1 on the day, Dominic White with a -1. So I think our leadership for today's sprint has been decided. It's gonna be Jacob. So this is supposedly the last kilometer. We've got the corner towards the right, and then we have the sprint right there. But towards that final kilometer, there's a downhill run-in. So it's all gonna be about trying to make sure I don't launch too late. In the peloton, Bitek Mes Pedersen is actually pacing so hard that there's a gap on a second half of the peloton right here. Tom van der Valk is in there for us because he had a mechanical, not necessarily because of a bad day or anything. I'm trying to get some water to my riders. I know dehydration is the key to victory, but we got to give him something. With about 9 kilometers left, we are winning the battle for positions, but there's a few attacks on the ride. We've got the Brennan train right here, the Vermeldvoort train here, Dupont in the wheel, and the Tim Thorn-Teutenberg train. So we gotta beat them all. Come on, Lucas van der Valk. We're coming through on the right side. I forgot the energy shells. That's not great. Weiss can go now. Jacob Scott in the wheel. Come on, come on, come on. Last kilometer right here. Let's launch. Can I launch past with Jacob Scott? That's the question. No, looks like Bouvier versus Vermeldvoort. We're losing our top 3 position. Maybe we can slip into 5th. Come on. Yes, we did. A top 5 in Trofej Umag. Honestly, the result is thanks to the lead-out. Gerhard, Weiss both worked perfectly, positioning Scott for that final sprint and getting 5th here, beating the likes of Brennan with 74 sprint. That is only because of the positioning. But on paper, this Croatian race, Trofej Porec, fits Jacob Scott better because he's a punchy sprinter and the finish is a punchy sprint. And the game agrees with us because we are 3rd favorite for this race behind Malucelli and Konishev. I'm trying to, on these hills, make the race a bit harder, so we've got Tom van der Valk really smashing it, did it earlier with Lucas as well. Dominic Weiss in the wheel. He'll probably not go as fast as Tom though, so let's get him out of the way. There we go. Dominic takes over. Still 100 people in the group, but if I smash it now, I think I might actually be able to split it. So let's give it that attempt. Dominic, let's see if we can split the peloton. No real gaps right now. With about 5k to go, our lead-out has actually made a gap on the rest of the peloton, so I'll just keep going. 4.5k to go. Julian Brown is done for. We've got Jan-Mark Temmen next. KICKR is the one that will have to do the lead-out for Jacob Scott, but I'm kind of burning through my entire lead-out, just keeping this group ahead, so this is very risky. I'm going to try and put KICKR ready on 93 to make sure I can at least set tempo on this hill right now when Jan-Mark Temmen is done for. Scott still in the wheel. Come on, Jacob. This one is yours. You can't give this away. KICKR, now is your turn. We've got Jacob Scott to the right. I launched too late, I think. I think I launched too late. No! Come on, Jacob, Jacob, Jacob. Yes, he does it. On the line, Jacob Scott takes the victory, even with an imperfect sprint, to be honest, but Another victory in our pocket. I knew we had a chance when I saw the parkour of this race, and Jacob Scott was perfect for that uphill sprint, so another victory for REMBE Pro Cycling. And importantly, this is one more victory towards our win 4 races season objective for REMBE, the sponsor. Next to that, finish in the top 64, we are currently 35th according to this. And yes, indeed, that is the case. We are 35th behind Kolpak Balan in front of Israel Premier Tech Academy, so let's try and keep that position. Now, while Pro Cycling Manager 2024 has reworked the sponsor objective, race objective system, I do feel like I missed the system where doing well in a race that your sponsor does not necessarily want you to do well in still impacted the happiness of the sponsor in previous editions. And now the confidence stays on 50 because the races I won were not race objectives. Now, before we get to the next races, let's talk about the facilities page again that I showed you last episode. I think I mentioned that the finances on the right have an influence on whether you can afford each of these investments, but I think I represented it wrongly because the balance available is the amount of money that is left over from my sponsor every month after all the salaries go off it, but that's not the amount of money I can spend. I can actually spend the balance I have on the right bottom, which I do want to invest in something right now. Now, because our team is not time trial focused, I don't care too much about TT training bikes right now. But something like high performance tires, that does interest me because for 2K, I can upgrade a rider by 0.2 on primary attributes, excluding time trial. So mountain, medium mountain, hill stats, sprint, cobble, and flat. I think that's worth it for our leaders. So what I'll do is I'll select that upgrade and select the riders I want to apply that to. Jacob Scott, a leader, Paul Wright as well, Dominic Weiss, Henry Appelbaum, Jago, and Jonathan. I think those are the 6 riders that I want to spend money on. 12K individual investments. How do I do this? On the right bottom, I click buy. So now those riders on paper have that 0.2 boost on their primary attributes. Anyway, we probably won't notice that effect too much in the race, but we will know that we have some kind of advantage. Now, with a successful run in Croatia, it's time to go towards Taiwan for a 5-day stage race, starting with a flat sprint stage on day 1, Taipei City. Second one is a bit of a hilly sprint in, Jesus Christ, Jabanshan Park is I think the pronunciation. Then next to that, we have another on-paper hill stage, but with a more flat finish in my eyes, the Shingan Visitor Information Center. 4th stage, Sun Moon Lake. Bit of a climby queen stage, I would classify this at. And finally, a flat sprint to finish things off. So we've got some opportunities here, especially considering Jago, Henry, and Paul Wright all 3 have a fitness peak. So their race day condition will be off the charts. That being said, Jacob Scott has a bit of a sniffle, so that's less ideal. So this is what the final 2 kilometers look like. So basically a straight run-in, then a corner to the right, and that goes straight into some kind of wide U-turn, because now we're turning all the way to the finish line, which is right there. So I don't know what to expect here. It's kind of technical, but kind of wide enough that it might not matter. And now it's for real. 2.5 kilometers to go. We've got Paul Wright in 2nd position starting his lead out now. Let's get Henry out of the way. Jacob Scott can launch in this corner right here. Let's hope he can pass Teutenberg on our right. Let's see if he can beat us. He's a better sprinter. Tim Thorn Teutenberg versus Selby. It's gonna be Tim Thorn Teutenberg. Yes, he wins for Little Trek Future Racing. We are 4th. So, hey, I'm quite happy with this result. There's not much we could have done differently there. When I look at the last 10 kilometers, this looks like a hilly sprinter finish, but the game is predicting the actual punchers to take this one, which I think Jacob Scott has a chance here. So we have a +3 on Paul Wright, which means 75 hill. Jesus Christ, 68 sprint. Jacob Scott has 72 hill with 70 sprint. So we've got 2 options here, and I'm kind of torn between them. 7.5 kilometers to go in a very twisty finish. We've got 6 riders in our train, 5 right now, because Aguirre is done for. Sebastian can now do his work. My plan for this one is simple. I'm going to try and launch right on the hill somehow, and I'm going to keep Scott in the peloton just in case Wright gets caught. That's kind of the plan. So we're going to try and manifest that right now. Let's do 95 on Sebastian and see where this goes. So 3.5k to go. I'll pause it because as you can see, we've got Froome and Sheehan following the wheel of my own Jacob Scott. So if I now drop the wheel with Jacob Scott and maybe follow the wheel of Froome instead, then on paper, if I go ham at the front here with Niehuys, The gap should open up behind Paul Wright. No, because Froome is closing it. That tactic, that reverse lead out, failed completely. Anyway, we'll just go towards Scott then when it comes to a sprint. So, Boresh, you can prep it right now. 2.5 kilometers to go. We're spending loads of energy right now, but I think we can really pull it off. Wright and Scott still looking good. Henry can launch right now. Wright in the wheel. Let's launch. Scott shall wait a bit. We've got Froome trying to come past. Why is Froome here? Sheehan is here as well. Wright versus Scott versus Riley Sheehan. It's gonna be... Damn it! Froome's lead out was good enough. Riley Sheehan wins, and we've got how many riders in the top 10? 5 in the top 7. But we don't win. 2 riders on the podium, and also 5th, 6th, and 7th. Absolute Movistar tactics that was, but one day my reverse lead out will work, I promise you. When it comes to GC, we're now 2nd and 3rd with Paul Wright and Jacob Scott. On paper, Paul Wright is our man for this, but they're both within 10 seconds, so we've got some options to work with. Now, this is absolute confusion, because I see a profile with 1 mountain in the middle with a relatively flat finish, so I think, okay, a reduced sprint, but I look at the riders that are in here when it comes to the favorites. Mark Donovan, Delio Fernandez, Giovanni Carboni, actual climbers. Anyway, once again, we're going to go for either Jacob Scott or Paul Wright, depending on the situation in the race. Oh la la, this I do like. 73 hill on Jacob Scott, 70 sprint because of +2 daily form. Paul Wright with a +1, which means 73 hill and 67 sprint. So on paper, Scott's the better one if this does come down to a sprint. Throughout the stage, there were some splits, but they were quickly undone, and to be honest, I lost quite a bit of energy trying to split it. But with about 10 kilometers to go, still 4 riders. Applebaum on his last breath though, 3.5 kilometers to go, only Boresh, Paul Wright and Jacob Scott left. I'm going to try and ramp it up now towards 99 with Julian, maybe 97, don't want to spend any red energy on Paul Wright. He's going to do the lead out for Jacob Scott right now. Jacob Scott, try and get out of the wheel right now. We've got Budding on the right, Sign by out on the left. Our sprint is absolute trash. Wright is going to podium the stage somehow from a position of being a lead out, while Scott... he might just about top 10, so that wasn't great. Not at all. Another podium is not too bad, but I don't understand why Paul Wright was so much better than Jacob Scott at this finish, because Scott had a good day, good stats, so kind of unexplainable. When it comes to GC, we're now on 4 seconds of Riley Sheehan, and with the next stage, there is some possibility that we can benefit, so let's see if we can win this race. According to the game, we have 0 chance of winning, but looking at the last 30 kilometers, basically a bit of a medium mountain in there, I do see some opportunity, or a chance at least we can do well. Once again, +2 race day condition on Paul Wright. We've got 73 hills, so that's about a perfect start to the stage. Now, while the stage is ongoing, I do want to talk about something. Usually every year I get the question, should I buy Pro Cycling Manager 2020, 2021, 2024 now? And the answer is pretty simple in my head. I buy it because I want to see those new features, but reality is, those new features, in my opinion, aren't worth the full price of a new Pro Cycling Manager. So I see the features that get added every year as some kind of DLC, but quite an expensive one. I would personally, if I didn't make videos on YouTube about Pro Cycling Manager, probably buy the game every 2 years, because then you get double the amount of features, and you can use the databases like WorldDB, for example, to get the new season's kits and transfers. So that would be my angle. But anyway, that's just my 2 cents. We're now on the climb, Eagle's Nest, starting off with some steep kilometers, but then it's basically up and down afterwards. And I've got a bit of a train going. I know that's not the most efficient strategy on a climb, but I like it when there's some kind of flat finish afterwards, which is the case here. So Nihus is currently trying to keep us in the group, and that's kind of the only goal I have on this climb. I was trying to get water to the front with Tom van der Valk, but I low-key hammered it at the front of the peloton, so now he's dropping. So no water for our riders with about 22 kilometers to go. Not ideal. Let's try to control all these attacks with Iago, but our energy on our riders just isn't that high, and I think that's because I used a train formation, but then again, we've got a small descent to recover here, so that's good. Let's put ourselves on 70. Let's get that yellow bar up, and then start smashing it towards the final 10 kilometers. The one problem I do have is that it is a flat finish, so Scott has a better chance of winning over Wright, but on the other hand, I can only win GC if I sprint for the victory with Wright. So I'm again torn between the 2 riders. 3.5 kilometers to go. I'm going to try and launch with Henry right now with 3k to go. Julian in the wheel. Aguirre can get out of the way. Come on, Boresh, you can go now. I'm going to try and sprint with both Scott and Paul Wright in the hopes that we can go for both the stage win and GC. So last 1.3 kilometers, let's launch right now. There we go. Signed by our budding. We've got Kopecky on the right. Scott versus Wright. Right. Yes, we do. We win GC and a stage. That is epic. That is our third stage win with a different rider for REMBE Pro Cycling. And looking at the general classification, we're now first with 6 seconds on Riley Sheehan. Reality is, there's one more stage, so we haven't won GC yet. I gotta secure it still. But honestly, that should be possible on this sprint stage. It all depends on whether Riley Sheehan wins the stage or not. Okay, Teutenberg is going for the intermediate sprint with 9 kilometers to go. Noted. That's a weird spending of energy. Anyway, 5 riders in our lead-out train. Aguirre now doing the work with about 7.5k to go. Nothing really happened during the stage, so we can't afford to just go for the sprint like this. Applebaum is next. There we go. Aguirre out of the way, and we are looking really good right now. Bordej with about 3.5 kilometers to go. That is kind of early, to be honest. We've got Söderqvist for Teutenberg again on the right side of the road. Bordej trying to save a little bit of energy here. Let's go right now. Paul Wright in the wheel. This is early. This is really early. This is early. Is it early? I don't know if it's early, but we'll go right now in this corner. Scott's kind of behind Teutenberg. No, it's Söderqvist. Wright versus Budding versus Teutenberg. Scott tries to come around. No Riley Sheehan. That is great. Martijn Budding of TDT Unibet wins. Jacob Scott comes second. But most importantly, we secure the maillot jaune with Paul Wright. There we go. And funny enough, because Jacob Scott got a podium, he also passes Sheehan in GC. So we're now 1 and 2 in GC. Same thing with the points classification, a 1-2 with Wright and Scott. And logically, we also win the team classification. I think it's fair to say the Tour de Taiwan was pretty successful for us. This is a pretty useful email. Thanks to your performance on the Tour de Taiwan race, you have accumulated total prize money of 18k. Congratulations. That's a good thing because now we can spend some more money when it comes to our facilities. So let's take a look at the team-wide ones. Cobblestone +2, not that intriguing. 0.1 on primary attributes for 20k. That's optimization chain processing 1. We've also got an upgraded version of that for 50k. 0.2 on those primary attributes. And finally, ceramic bearings optimization. 0.1 for 40k. Why would you invest in this when you can invest in chain processing for half the price? I don't understand why you would do that right now. So let's start off with optimization chain processing. Costs us 20k. I think we can afford that. There we go. By the way, I actually haven't taken a look at this, but on the right side, we've got a green-looking AI dude telling me, invest with my help in just a few clicks. Sounds like a CoffeeZilla exposed scam at this point. Let's open that. Hello, investment in materials is important for performance. I shall make a suggestion based upon criteria that you set. Okay, sure buddy. At the side you can see the current financial situation. Yeah, but it's kind of half the financial situation, isn't it? Because we only see the balance available after the salaries go off my monthly sponsor money. I would like to see the money I have in the bank that I can spend on this. Because the finances on the right kind of don't tell me anything. Anyway, given our finances and the level of our team, I would think it wise to set a budget of 18.2k for materials. If you want my suggestions to be based upon a different amount, don't hesitate to change the value. I'll make that 20.3k, just to annoy the green man. Let's go with this budget. What is this? In order to refine my suggestion, I'd like you to put the following 3 domains in order. That will help me choose where to put the priority. Major tours, classics, or time trials. I think that's the order I want it to be honest. So let's go with that order. There we go. Investment have a certain cost, and some are individual. Choices must be made as to the riders in whom we invest the most. I've ranked the riders in 3 categories. Leaders, those we privilege. Important riders, a bit less investment. Other riders, minimum investment. Given the current squad, I recommend putting 1 leader and 2 important riders. I think I want to change a few things here because yes, Scott is our leader, but I also feel like we have more important riders, which is Rotman's important for me, Jago's important for me, Henry's important for me. To be honest, my entire team's important for me, but these are the 5 riders that are most likely to win stages for me next to Jacob Scott. So let's start off with this breakdown right here. This is what I suggest, based upon the choices we have made, that gives a total amount of €0. What? You didn't suggest anything, my friend. There's no suggestions. What do you mean? Are you telling me I went through this whole chatbot experience just to have you tell me that I shouldn't invest and I have to confirm the investment of €0? Sure, we did it. There we go. We confirmed that investment. There we go. No changes. On one end, I do like the idea that there's some kind of chatbot feature that guides you through this page, but on the other hand, that felt very useless to me. Wait, we won 4 races. I won 3 stages, and I won a stage race. So yes, we have the season objective of winning 4 races in just our first quarter. So that is excellent. When it comes to our classification team ranking, 32nd right now of 64. So we have it in the pocket for now. But next up, to finish off today's video, we'll be riding the Olympias Tour, where we need to get a top 10 in GC. And I think that's possible because, first of all, 5-kilometer prologue, I'm probably going to lose time in that one. Then I look at the next 4 stages, 4 sprint stages, but with loads of intermediate sprints, so bonus seconds are possible there. Firstly, the 5-kilometer prologue, but to be honest, when it comes to my registered riders, I'm looking at a team that does not necessarily have great riders when it comes to the prologue stat. 64 for Julian Bores. And to be honest, I could make the race easier for us by bringing Jacob Scott, who has 68 prologue, but I like a bit of a challenge. I don't want this prologue to be the one that brings us in the top 10. I want to do it through tactics. That being said, I'm going to quick simulate this stage because I do not like riding prologue. So there we go. Jordan Bloom is the winner. Taking a look at the riders in our team, we've got Dominic Wise on 19 seconds, 27 on the stage, and most of our riders, if not all, within 33 seconds. So it is possible to get in the top 10 here. So we now know where we stand when it comes to GC. Going into the next sprint stage now, 150 kilometers completely flat from Hoofddorp to Noordwijk. 3 bonus second sprints, 6 seconds per one of those sprints. So I can literally get 18 bonus seconds just from intermediate sprints this stage. So getting in the breakaway will be important. And then the final sprint with Dominic Wise. But there's some proper competition here. Timothy Dupont, Koen Vermeldvoort, and Matthew Brennan. We've got a sprinter of about 69.70. These guys are 74.75. So quite a difference. So we're starting today with Bores at the front of the peloton, so let's launch the attack. Ooh, just a bit too late, we're now blocked in, but we make our way through on the left, maybe? Yes, there we go. Julian Bores in the breakaway. We've got Martin, Pulgakker, and Nenning trying to join us. And Godard is chasing. Why are you chasing, my man? We're just a friendly neighborhood Julian Bores. We won't hurt you. I'm sorry, but these guys are in the wheel of the commissaire car. The commissaire car is literally pulling the peloton back to us. This is rigged. This is literally rigged. I can't believe this. Finally, the commissaire car has disappeared. He's now helping us in the breakaway. So I'm not complaining. I am complaining about all these sprinter teams being so scared of Bores being in the breakaway though, because chasing down this 4-man breakaway makes absolutely no sense. We've been caught, so I'm going to try again. Right now, Julian goes off the front. Any other takers? So far, not really. And Helene actually wants us to go. So a 1-man Julian Bores is okay for them. 2 riders are trying to bridge, Grozhev and Rug, but I gotta be honest, this peloton is storming behind me and Bores is running out of energy. So that is not perfect. What I'll do is I'll set up a bit of a sprint train behind and maybe try and take the seconds from the peloton. So Wise can go in the wheel of Rotman, Rotman in the wheel of Lucas van der Valk, and van der Valk can bring us to the front. Jesper, Loki gonna help everybody catch Bores, but on the other hand, ooh, actually, we might take those seconds this way. Let's try and launch from the peloton with Wise like this. Are we gonna get second with Wise? Bores, come on, Bores, come on, Bores, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. A 1-2, there we go. That's what we wanted. And actually, are we allowed to go in the break like this? Is this stupid? Yes, but I'm gonna do it anyway. 2-man breakaway up the road. I'm okay with it, guys. Like, I can get 3 bonus seconds like this. Okay, 2-man breakaway just turned into a 1-man breakaway because Bores has 0 energy left. So I'll pull him back to the peloton and he's gonna sit up in there. Quite a curious position though. We planned to get a rider in the breakaway to get bonus seconds and sprint at the finish line with Dominic Wise, but now we have Dominic Wise, our sprinter, in the breakaway. So we've got Rotman as final sprinter perhaps at this point. So it's kind of a funny situation. Bores, no need to pace in the peloton, my friend. With about 10 kilometers towards the second intermediate sprint right here, we've got a bridger, we've got a Heudelmoser, we've got a 3-minute gap on the peloton behind that, so it's going to be a 1v1 for the upcoming intermediate sprints, and we are by far the better sprinter, so this should be an easy 12 seconds. Well, actually 6 seconds. I don't know if this breakaway will survive until the final intermediate sprint, but I'll try it. 1.5 kilometers to go. I'm going to launch from his wheel too early, I think. I think I launched too early. This might cost me. No, we're just that much better. There we go. But anyway, it looks like we're getting caught from the peloton right here with about 13 kilometers left towards the third intermediate. So I'm going to sit up. I'm going to try and recover some energy and then maybe try for a sprint from the peloton for it. 2 kilometers to go. I'm going to go with Rotman right now. Weiss in the wheel. There he goes. Van der Valk can stop. Rotman can stop just before the line maybe. That way we get some seconds with Rotman as well. There we go. Perfect. We got seconds with both Weiss and Rotman. Now wait for the peloton and recover energy because the sprint is coming in about 30 kilometers and I want to still sprint with you guys. We're not looking too ideal when it comes to position with 4 kilometers to go. Borish is trying to lead us out as soon as possible. Rotman is trying to get to the wheel with Weiss in the wheel. Still going for Weiss regardless of his busy day. Rotman, get to the front, my friend. Somehow, let's launch in between the wheels here. Weiss is still in the wheel. Come on. We're going to have to launch early. I don't know what just happened there. We're going to launch right now from the wheel with Weiss. Lots of stuff is happening. My voice is going away. Simmons, Brennan, we're going to finish somewhere in the top 5, but Matthew Brennan is going to win the second stage of the Olympias Tour. 5th place for Dominic Weiss. No bonus seconds here, but we've done a good job with those during the stage. Now, most importantly, I want to see what our progress is when it comes to... Wait, what? We're now 3rd in GC? How many bonus seconds did we get with Weiss? I actually haven't counted it. 3rd on 3 seconds of Jordan Bloom. I don't know how he did it, but it's perfect. 19 minus 6 is 12 seconds, so that's 7 seconds. Minus 4 because we got second behind Borish at the first intermediate sprint. That's why we are 3 seconds behind. I know math. Now we are relatively safe when it comes to our top 10 position with Weiss, but I would like to get 2 riders in there just to be sure. If something happens to Weiss, I want to have a second rider in the top 10. So this second stage with 3 intermediate sprints gives that opportunity. So Borish in the breakaway is my thought. Julian Boresh's position in the peloton was a bit too fast, so I decided to go with Silas KICKR. We've got 2 other companions, Scheller and Chirac. And when it comes to the sprint, 66. Ooh, we are 65. So it's going to be a close battle between KICKR and Chirac. Considering the gap to the peloton is a full 8 minutes, I can play around a little. So I've been sitting in the wheel of Chirac for the last 5 kilometers. 2 kilometers now to go towards the intermediate. We're about to launch our sprint. Come on, get to the wheel. Let's launch before this corner maybe right now. KICKR on the right, Chirac in the middle, Scheller on the right. It's going to be a 1v1 between me and Chirac. Chirac has the upper hand. We get 4 seconds though, so it's better than 0. Next sprint is here. We're once again in the wheel. 1.7 kilometers to go. 1.5, 1.3. Let's wait a little and let's launch from his wheel right now. KICKR versus Chirac. Come on. Silas, come on. Nah. We're gonna get second again, so once again 4 seconds for us. There's a small steep hill upcoming, and I can't beat him in the sprint, so I might as well try and attack him for this last intermediate sprint. There we go, Silas. Try and drop our guy. Come on. He is in the wheel. Damn it. Scheller on the fence. They're almost dropped, but he's still in our wheel. Let's get in the wheel and start recovering for the sprint. Come on, Silas, this one is yours. 1.5 kilometers to go. Let's launch right now on the right. He's kind of blocking me in. No, he isn't. Chirac versus KICKR. Did we launch too early? I think we launched too early, but maybe? No, just on the line, he passes me. Aww. Anyway, Silas KICKR was on 27 seconds. We gained 12 seconds, so we should be somewhere between 12th and 17th in GC based on the virtual standings. 15 kilometers to go. The breakaway with KICKR is being caught. We've got 5 riders in our train. We're going to try and do the same as yesterday, but hopefully we get a better result in the final sprint this time around. 4.2 kilometers to go. Brown is done for. Get out of the way, my friend. Borish is the next one. Let's go 99 on the ride with Rotman and Weiss in the wheel. Let's see if we can deliver this. 2.5 kilometers to go. 99 with Rotman. Come on, Borish, out of the way. Rotman at the front. Weiss is not in the wheel. No. Let's launch with both of them. Just right now. Go. Just go. Let's try something. Huns at the front, we've got Nielsen on the left of that. Pluto tries to come past. We are nowhere to be seen. Weiss might just about top 10, but Sebastian Nielsen from TDT Unibet takes the stage. We finish 11th, just missing out on the top 10. Devastating. GC-wise, we are still on fat. When it comes to Silas-Keuch, indeed, 15th in GC on 19 seconds. So I guess it's okay. In the coming stages, we can try and get either Keuch or maybe Rotman or Boresh. He's a bit far, to be honest, in that top 10. That's our aim now. But hey, if Wise wins the sprint, then just wins his overall tour, I won't complain either. Wait, this 4th stage has a KOM point. I haven't seen any KOM points in this race so far, so this might be the opportunity to win that classification for good, so I'm going for that. So unfortunately, Keuch and Boresh are not to the front of the peloton, so unfortunately I'll have to go in the breakaway with Julian Brown, which is still okay. He's got a +2 on the day when it comes to his hill stats, so maybe that will look good when it comes to the KOM point, but on the other hand, the other guys are closer in GC for the bonus sprints. Let's see if I can get through here. There we go. Reactions by Rex, not Laurens, but I think his brother, De Meijer as well, Purtscheller as well, and we've got Arts as well, and we keep going. Breakaway riders everywhere on the road. If I can keep the tempo at the front in that 3-man group, then these riders right here, these 3 riders, might be caught by the peloton before they catch me. So that is the goal, and looks like that's gonna be the case because Owen Gelijn of TDT Unibet is doing the work for us. So thank you very much, my friend. We've got 5 kilometers to go towards that KOM point. I need to have these points. Oh my god, Rex has 70 hill. We are so doomed. There's no way I'm getting those points. 1.5 kilometers towards the top here. 1 kilometer. I'm gonna launch pretty soon right now. There we go, from the wheel of De Meijer. Come on, come on, come on. Rex seems done for. We might get this. We might get this. There we go. I'm going to celebrate for it. Julian Brown takes the KOM points and the KOM jersey of the Olympias Tour. We're relaying 65 in the break, and it looks like that was too much for Rex. So I guess we're now doing a 1v1 versus De Meijer for these bonus second sprints that are upcoming. Here we go. From the wheel, De Meijer goes. We've got 61 on the day when it comes to sprint thanks to race day condition. He's got 61, and he's looking like he will beat us. That is not great. That is sad. Just under 20k to go. Julian Brown and the breakaway is caught. So let's sit up and let's prep for the intermediate sprint with Dominic Wise maybe. Maybe we can try and get higher up when it comes to GC. Trying to get second in GC maybe. 3 kilometers to go. 3-man train. Rotman in the wheel 99 with Boresh right now. Let's take over with Rotman. Jonathan pretty soon. There we go. Right now. Boresh out of the way. Wise is ready. 1.3 kilometers to go. 1.1 kilometers to go. We launch with Dominic and we're going to take the seconds. Perfect. 4 kilometers to go. Ooh, we're getting blocked with Boresh. Maybe on the right side we can pass. That would be ideal. Wise, you can not launch yet, obviously. It's 3 kilometers to go. Boresh, you are looking good. Rotman, looking pretty good. Can go right now. Julian out of the way. Wise, badly positioned, my friend. Very badly positioned. Let's launch right now. Rotman can launch as well. Just do it. Just do it, my friend. Come on, Jonathan. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Nah, Joran Bloom will pass us and we'll take 10 seconds in GC again. So he's looking like he will win this stage race. To be honest, I am pretty happy with the podium on the stage, so I'm not complaining. That being said, I feel like I've got a pattern here now where my lead out is often beating my sprinter, which means I'm probably doing something wrong. We are now second in GC thanks to the last bonus sprint, but we are also 9th in GC with Rotman thanks to the actual podium. So that's a positive thing for this race. But I will say, me going for these intermediate sprints, I feel like the other riders in top 10, the game AI should realize what I'm doing and should try and prevent me from doing that. Because for a lot of these bonus sprints, I've had zero competition because the game's AI doesn't realize that I'm trying to get bonus seconds to beat them in GC. Anyway, that aside, I do want to talk about visibility because I just noticed this right here, visibility 10. The race is still in progress, your visibility score is therefore temporary, your current visibility score takes provisional classifications into account, but the way they evolve as well as results of upcoming stages could move your score up and down. The closer you get to the final stage, the less likely your score will change. So this is what we set in our race objectives last episode. For the Deutschland Tour, I wanted to have visibility 2 or 1. I don't know what I said, but for example, in this race, we are very visible, extremely even. We are 10 visibility, so that's where that score is at. And lastly, we have 10 points when it comes to the KOM classification. I do want to take a look at the next stage now. Is there a KOM point in that stage? Yes, there is a KOM point, but it's a third cat KOM point. So only 6, 4, and 2 points are given to the first 3 riders, which means my plan for today is simple. I will not go in the breakaway. I'll try and control the breakaway formation phase to let a breakaway form that does not include De Meijeren, Rex, or Arts, because those are the only 3 riders that can beat me in that KOM classification. We don't need the intermediate sprint anymore because we are good when it comes to our classification on time. Yes, on paper, if I win the stage and that intermediate sprint, I can win GC, but I think that's a risky play. I just want to defend KOM right now. Attack number 1 has begun. Don't. We've got Heudelmoser and Ragilo. To be honest, I'm okay with that. I'm going to sit back and relax. That breakaway can go because they're not dangerous when it comes... Oh, and Gelijn, stop chasing, please. This is the break I want. And he stopped chasing. There we go. A 3-man breakaway that will take the KOM points. That does not endanger us, so... that is perfection. Actually, I am greedy. This might backfire, but I'm going to pace with Lucas van der Valk and Julian Brown behind this breakaway. Why? Not to catch them before the KOM point, but to catch them afterwards, because I want to take that intermediate sprint with Wise. If there's any chance I can win GC here, I'll try and do it. So I'm going to try and keep this break under control. Let's ride at about 75 to 80, and then go ham in the descent after that KOM point to get that intermediate sprint. There we go. Frank took the points at the KOM. And in the peloton, we are catching rider by rider from that breakaway. Dont is about to be caught, so that is good. And here we go. The last breakaway companion has been caught. So let's keep up the tempo though on 85 to try and prevent attacks towards that intermediate sprint. And let's secure this. We need that bonus sprint. 3 kilometers to go. We're looking very good at the moment. 2.8, 2.7. Let's go with Rotman pretty soon. Jonathan is ready. There we go. Jonathan goes. Porish out of the way. Blocks Weiss. Not perfect. Weiss in the wheel of Jonathan. And he can launch right now. Looks like 3 seconds to me. Yeah, it looks like that's going to be the case. Rotman got to stop. So Weiss takes the full seconds. There we go. Perfect. Final day, final sprint. KICKR is ready for the final lead out in front of Rotman and Weiss. 3.5k to go. We've got a good day on Wise, to be honest. 72 sprints, so this should actually be pretty good. And Jonathan is also ready to launch pretty soon, and I'm going to do that right now. There we go. Rotman with 2k to go, spending loads of energy. That's probably not ideal, but I'm doing it anyway. Dominic is ready too. Can launch right now before this corner. Brennan on the ride. He'll probably beat us. More acceleration, more sprint. Wise comes around. Dominic. No, I was too hopeful. Timothy Dupont takes it. We might top 3, but no, 4th. Nothing's happening to our liking at the end of the stage, but throughout the stage race, we did well. In the end, we finished 2nd in GC with Dominic Weiss, 6th with Jonathan Malte Rotman, so 2 riders in the top 10, perfection. We actually win the KOM classification thanks to our actions at the start of today's stage. So while we didn't win a stage, that's a perfect result, getting 2nd and 6th in GC, so I'm really happy with that. And so is our sponsor REMBE, because we not only got a top 10, we actually overperformed, a super success. Instead of a top 10, we got a top 3, so a podium in this stage race. Sponsor happy, me happy. But I'm afraid that's where today's video will end. A very successful episode starting in Croatia. Umak Pored's got a stage win there. Then in Taiwan, 1 GC, won a stage. Olympia's Tour, got a race objective, so we can't complain at all. In the next episode, we'll take on our first .pro race. That is the Presidential Tour of Turkey, 8 stages. After that, Eschborn Frankfurt U23, Flèche du Sud as well, and then finally Rundum Köln. The 2 most important races are actually Eschborn Frankfurt U23 and Rundum Köln. Both sponsor objectives, but also just German races. And I'm looking forward to those. But anyway, thank you very much for watching today's video. I also want to thank REMBE Pro Cycling Team Sauerland for sponsoring this series. It's been an absolute pleasure so far, and I hope that will continue. So I'll see you next time. Goodbye.